everyone, and thank you for joining me once again. Today we'll be going through a sequence that I hope will help to benefit a lot of you. I hear a lot of people tell me that they have very weak knees, that they've done some kind of physical activity in their life that has kind of broken down the strength in their knees, and they're not quite sure how to rebuild it, or even to get away from some of the knee pain that they experience. So this sequence is it's a nice gentle sequence. We're not putting a lot of strain on our knees. I'm not going into any really deep bends, but we're doing some stuff that's going to help strengthen your knee. It's going to strengthen your knee. It's going to strengthen the muscles around your knee as well. So into your hamstrings behind your thighs, and into your calf muscles, and maybe a little bit into your quads. By strengthening those areas, we can help to strengthen the knee and help to support the knee a little bit more. So we're going to start by coming down into a reclined position on the mat. So bring your knees out in front of you, knees bent, feet on the ground, and start to bring yourself all the way down onto the mat. Draw your knees into your chest and then extend your legs straight up to the sky. If you have a bend in your knees, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes we don't have the flexibility in our hamstrings to be able to completely straighten out our legs in this pose. Place the palms of your hands behind your thighs. Bring your feet just a little bit wider apart, and then keeping your legs straight, start to draw circles in the air with your toes. This is called feet to sky pose with ankle circles. So what it's doing is it's increasing blood flow from your ankles down to the rest of your body. It's moving this stagnant blood that has just accumulated just from gravity. You know, your feet are below your heart for the majority of your day, so it's getting that blood flow that has accumulated at your feet and in your ankles to go out to the rest of your body. Now start to draw circles in the opposite direction, really getting nice big circles. This helps to bring energy into your ankles, energy into your calf muscles as well. Continuing to breathe, nice deep inhale, and let's bring stability back to our feet, and then just try to extend your legs into a little bit of a straighter line. You might need to shift your hips down, bring your thighs a little bit further away from your body, but let's try to get a nice straight line and feel the strength in your knees. If you can't get a straight line, that's okay. As bent as you can go, as straight as you can go, even if you still have a bend, you'll still feel that nice pull in your knees. Deep inhale, exhale, draw your knees into your chest, and then bring the soles of your feet down onto the mat. Bring your feet about hip width apart, and then reposition them so that the backs of your heels, so that you can touch the backs of your heels with your hands. I understand you might not be able to reach them, and if you can't, that's perfectly fine, as long as your feet are close enough to support your body. We're going to go into mountain raises from the sea. Very important to continue looking up throughout this movement. All of your body weight is going to come back on your shoulders, and you just want to make sure that it all falls evenly on your neck. You don't want it to fall unevenly, because then you can cause a neck injury. So take a nice deep inhale, and then as you exhale, press your heels down into the mat, lift your hips up to the sky, press your hips up to the sky, and exhale, lower back down. Let's press those heels into the mat, lift your hips up to the sky, press them all the way up, squeeze your bum when you get to the top, and inhale, lower back down. Exhale, press those heels in, lift those hips up, squeeze your bum when you get to the top, and inhale, lower back down. Okay, continue to move through this at a pace that feels comfortable for you, and I'll talk a little bit about this movement. So what you can feel right away, as soon as you start to lift yourself up off the mat, you start to feel this in your calf muscles, and once you start to make your way closer to the top, you can feel this in your quads, the fronts of your thighs. So that is helping to strengthen the top of your knee on the front side. You're also squeezing your glutes. You're getting a little bit of extra benefit from this. It's also helping to strengthen your back. A nice strong back really helps to prevent you from back injury, so we always want to try to take the opportunity to strengthen our back whenever we can. We'll do this one more time. Inhaling as you lower, exhaling as you press those heels into the ground, lifting your hips up to the sky, and inhale, lower back down. Okay, reposition your upper body as you need to. Extend your left leg straight down on the mat. We're going to go into a movement called reclined big toe pose. Very important in this movement. The leg that's on the ground, so in this case your left leg, make sure to flex your foot. I'm going to move my right leg out of the way. Make sure to flex your foot at all times. This is going to help to keep a nice straight leg. You want your grounding leg to be as straight as possible.
This is going to help strengthen that knee as well. Okay, so we're going to go into this movement. It's a little bit of a challenging movement. I only want you to go as deep into this pose as you feel comfortable. So with your left hand, grab the outside of your ankle, take your right hand, and you're going to do a 2-finger point. Place those 2 fingers in between your big toe and your next toe. Release your hand, and you're going to bring your left hand out to the side, forming half of a letter T. Deep inhale, and then as you exhale, press your heel up toward the ceiling. Now, as you can see, my right knee is not perfectly straight. I don't have the longest of arms, so I can't get that leg completely straight, otherwise my shoulder comes up off the mat. Very important with your shoulder, don't reach forward like you're trying to push your foot forward. Try to keep that shoulder back and stacked into the socket so that you're not trying to rip it out of your socket. And then feel this strengthening in your hamstrings, in your right leg, and then in your left knee. Remember, keep that left foot flexed. That's going to help strengthen that left knee as well. Deep inhale, exhale. Let's draw that knee back into the center. Bring your left hand around the bottom of your knee, right hand around the bottom of your knee. Interlace your fingers, or you can place your hands in between your thigh and the back of your calf. And let's rock this knee back and forth from right to left. Continuing to breathe, we're going to get a little bit of movement into your hips. This is just a counter pose for the pose that we just did. This is really good and beneficial for your hips as well. Okay, let's bring your knee back into the center. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Extend your right arm all the way out to the side, forming the other half of a letter T. Let's press that right knee across your body, coming in to knee down twist pose. You can tuck your right toes behind your left knee. You can place it on the inside of your left thigh, or if you've got flexibility and you've got a little bit of room, you can bring that right foot to the outside of your left knee. Very important, make sure that shoulder blade doesn't come up off the mat. Otherwise, you're going to tweak your lower back. So make sure both shoulder blades stay flat on the mat, gazing out at your right fingertips. Taking a nice deep inhale and exhale. Let's unwind, bring that right knee up and in towards your chest. Exhale, extend it straight down on the mat. Let yourself lie here for a moment and feel this tightness in the lower part of your body. Feel a little bit tighter muscles in your glutes a little bit, in the tops of your thighs, and in that left knee. Now let's do the same on the opposite side. So let's ground your right leg. Flex that right foot so that your knee stays completely straight. Let's draw that left knee up and in toward your chest. With your right hand, let's guide that ankle a little bit closer to your body. 2-finger point with your left hand. Place those 2 fingers in between your big toe and the next toe. Release your right hand, extend it out to the side, forming half of a letter T. Deep inhale, and then as you exhale, press that foot a little bit closer to the ceiling, remembering to keep this right leg grounded, keeping it nice and straight, continuing to breathe, looking straight up at the ceiling, making sure that shoulder stays stacked into your socket, not trying to rip it out of your shoulder, continuing to breathe. Feeling this nice stretch in your hamstrings, in your left hamstrings. Feeling this nice tightness and strengthening in your right knee. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, let's draw your knee back in toward your body. Interlace your fingers either below your knee or behind your thigh. And let's rock this thigh back and forth. Let's rock this knee back and forth from right to left. Opening up your thighs, giving a massage to your muscles on the insides of your legs. Continuing to breathe. Let's bring that knee back to the center. Right hand goes to the outside of your left knee. Extend your left arm all the way out to the side, forming the other half of a letter T. Let's press that left leg across your body and gaze out at your left fingertips. If you've got room, you can bring that left foot to the outside of your right knee. If you feel your body starting to come up off the mat, let's bring that right knee back and tuck those toes into the inside of your right thigh. Feel this nice stretch in your body. This nice release of tension in your knee. Nice deep inhale. Let's draw this knee back up and in towards the center. Exhale, extend it straight down on the mat. Let yourself lie here for a moment. So that pose, the knee down twist pose that we did, also helped to lengthen the muscles along the backs of your legs. So now you're getting the full benefit of all of these muscles. You've stretched them, you strengthened them, and you've lengthened them. So this is going to really help support your knee. Okay, take a deep inhale. Let's come up into a seated position. I like to draw my knees in and rock myself up to seated. And let's come into butterfly pose. So if you are familiar with my videos, you know that I like to do butterfly pose with my knees very close to my body. However, for this variation, let's extend those knees a little bit further out from your body and then just place your hands along your shins. So they should just be comfortably at a nice comfortable distance for you. This is a good release for your knees. The closer they are to your body, the tighter it's going to be on your knees. So it's just a matter of stretching out these muscles up here, but pushing them a little bit further away from your body just gives them a little bit of a break, gives them a little bit of a breather. Let's sit up nice and tall. Take a deep inhale, looking straight up to the sky. Exhale. Bend yourself forward, bringing your chest down toward the mat. Inhale, coming back up, looking up to the sky. Exhale, bending, looking down towards the mat, bringing your chest down towards the mat. Inhale, coming back up, looking up to the sky. Exhale. Let's bend yourself forward. Let yourself settle into a butterfly forward bend. Let your hands rest on your feet or on your ankles or shins, wherever you feel comfortable. And feel this nice stretch. So I can feel this on the inside of my thighs down to my knees. It's a nice way to kind of stretch out an area that we don't get to stretch out as much. It's a little bit of an awkward area to stretch. So getting that nice stretch on the insides of your knees, continuing to breathe. Take a deep inhale, slowly coming back up into a seated position. Let's keep your left knee drawn in toward your body. Extend your right leg straight down. Bring the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. I'm going to shift back just a little bit. And then extend your right foot so that the toes are pointing to the ceiling, your heels are pressing toward me. Really feel this in your knee. You can feel this nice strengthening in your knee already. By pressing those heels forward, you're forcing your kneecap to come up a little bit. So release that tension and then look down at your knee. And then let's flex it again. You force that kneecap up. Your quads are pulling your kneecap up, so it's helping to strengthen them. Place your left hand, your fingertips in the mat just ahead of your left shin. Your right fingertips go into the mat to the outside of your right knee. Bring your shoulders back and down, sitting up nice and tall. Try to make sure this left knee stays on the mat, or at least the outside of your left leg. Take a nice deep inhale and then exhale. Just start to walk yourself forward to whatever height you feel comfortable. This is called head to knee pose. My head is not on my knee. I don't have a lot of flexibility in my hamstrings. I am working on it. And poses like this really help to increase that flexibility. Because your foot is flexed, you are pulling, you're starting to lengthen those muscles. You're also helping to strengthen that knee. So the deeper that you end up going into this pose, it just means that you've become more flexible. So don't force this. Just go into this as deep as you can. The more that you practice a pose like this, the more flexibility you'll find that you have. And then just gaze out at the tips of your toes. That's going to give you a nice flat back, and it's going to help you relax in this pose. If you can fold completely over, you can bring your hands down to the bottom of your feet. Just make sure your shoulders, whatever variation you're in, make sure those shoulders are down and away from your ears. Deep inhale. Let's walk yourself back up into a seated position. And then let's switch. Let's extend your left leg straight down. Let's bend your right knee. The sole of your right foot comes to the inside of your left thigh. Let's flex your left foot. Your toes pointing up to the ceiling, maybe back a little bit, and your heel pressing down toward the front of the room. Right fingertips go in the mat in front of your right knee. Left fingertips go in the mat to the outside of your left knee. Shoulders back and down, sitting up nice and tall. Deep inhale, and then exhale. Start to walk yourself forward. Remembering to keep that left foot flexed, trying to keep this left leg down on the ground. Don't let it come up too high. If it starts to come up, maybe you want to come back just a little bit because you're pulling on that flexibility that you have. Continuing to breathe, feeling this nice stretch in the backs of your legs, feeling the strengthening in your knees. Continuing to breathe. Nice deep inhale. Full exhale. And then on your next inhalation, walk yourself back up into a seated position. Okay, we're going to go into a little bit of a challenging pose. Extend your legs out to the side, only as wide as feels comfortable. Don't force it. If this is as wide as you can go, that's perfectly fine. Everyone has different levels of flexibility.
So extend those legs out to the side. It's been a long time since I've done this pose, so we're all gonna do this together. Let's bring those fingertips in front. Let's sit up nice and tall. So already, you can feel this nice stretch on the insides of your thighs. So we're strengthening and lengthening these muscles in here. Maybe you can feel it a little bit into your glutes as you sit up nice and tall. We're gonna go into a wide-legged forward bend. Take a deep inhale and then exhale. Start to walk yourself forward as low as you can go. This is as low as I can go. These muscles are very tight. There are people that can fold completely down and extend their arms out in front of them. I, at the moment, am not one of them, and I'm realizing that as I do this pose for the first time in a while. So this really, you can feel this on the insides of your legs. It actually feels really good. I can feel this lengthening of my muscles. I can notice where my muscles are tight. I also feel this in my knees. Remember, flex those feet so that your heels are pressing outward. That's going to help support your knees. It's going to help strengthen your knees. Taking a deep inhale, and then let's walk yourself back up into a seated position. Okay, let's bring your right leg in front of you. Bend, rotate it at the hip, and then let's bring your left leg out to the side so that the sole of your right foot is up against the top of your left thigh. So you've got a little bit of a zigzag. We're going into zigzag legs. So let's rotate your torso so that you're looking over the inside of your right thigh. We're gonna fold over this thigh, so just make sure you lean toward your knee. We don't wanna go above our thigh or below our thigh. We wanna keep our spine nice in alignment. So we're gonna head for our knee as we go into this pose. Plant your left fingertips into the mat in front of your shin. Right fingertips go into the mat above your thigh. Let's bring those shoulders back and down. Take a deep inhale and then exhale. Start to walk yourself forward. So only go as deep as you feel comfortable. I'm coming down onto my forearms. It's a little bit easier to talk when I'm up a little bit higher, but you can fold completely down as well and continue to breathe. So this is once again stretching out those muscles on the insides of your thighs. You can feel this in your glutes as well. Lots of lengthening and strengthening in the lower part of our body today. Continuing to breathe. Nice deep inhales. Nice full exhales. On your next inhalation, walk yourself up into a seated position, and then let's move in the opposite direction. So let's rotate those legs. Let's go into zigzag on the opposite side. The sole of your left foot is up against the top of your right thigh. Rotate your torso so that you're looking over the inside of your left thigh. Right fingertips in the ground in front of your shin, left fingertips above your thigh, shoulders back and down, deep inhale, and then let's walk yourself forward, coming to whatever height you feel comfortable. You can also be up here. This is going to get into your sciatic nerve. If you're up this high, just make sure those shoulders are back and down. Continuing to breathe, feeling this nice openness in your hips. I find that for a hip opener, that coming down to this height, this actually feels really, really good for me. It also helps to release the tension in my lower back. So if you're holding on to tightness in your lower back, this is a really good option for you, really good variation. And then take a deep inhale. Let's walk yourself back up into a seated position, and then let's come all the way up to standing. From standing position, let's let ourselves feel grounded. So plant your feet in the mat just about a couple inches apart. Bring your hands out to your side and focus on your knees. So when you put your focus on your knees, think of where your kneecaps are right now. Are you standing strong, or are your knees just kind of there? Try to draw those kneecaps upward. This is really going to fire them up, start to build strength in them. You're going to retrain them so that your kneecaps come up a little bit higher, so that you've got that great support in the lower part of your body. Continuing to breathe, really feeling this strengthening in your knees, feeling those kneecaps drawn up towards the inside of your body, taking a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, bring the palms of your hands together. Take another deep inhale. Let's reach those arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, open your arms, and then swan dive down and bring your hands down toward your feet. Try to keep your knees as straight as possible in this variation. So if that means that you're up a little bit higher, that's fine. If you can, I'm going to rotate to the side so you can see. If you can place the palms of your hands on the mat with those straight knees, I can't do that, but that you can do that, that's great, but try to keep them as straight as possible. That's going to lengthen these muscles in your hamstrings and it's also going to continue to strengthen your knees. You can probably feel this in your kneecaps right now. Continuing to breathe, nice deep inhale, and then let's slowly come all the way up to standing. Bring the palms of your hands together and palms to heart center. Okay, let's work on strengthening our lower body from a standing position. So let's come into a nice wide stance. Bring your feet about 3 feet apart. Rotate your right toes so that they face the right side of the room. Make sure your left toes are facing forward, and then look down. Try to draw a straight line between both of your heels. We're going to go into triangle pose. I'm just moving my feet a little bit further out because I realize I'm too close. You want your legs to be at a nice distance to help support your body. So straight line between those heels. Let's bring your arms out into a letter T. Take a nice deep inhale, and then as you exhale, let's try to draw your right hand to the front of the room, left hip to the back of the room, and then pivot at the waist. And then we're in, this is called triangle pose. So very important in triangle pose. Come as deep as you feel comfortable. So if that means right here or all the way down to the ground. Very important, you want to make sure that your shoulders are stacked and your hands form a straight line. You don't want your top shoulder coming forward too much because then you're going to start to compromise your lower back. You want a nice straight spine. You want your spine to be in alignment, and you want your shoulders to be stacked. Reaching that left hand straight up to the sky. You can either look forward or you can look up, whatever feels most comfortable on your neck. Taking a nice deep inhale, full exhale, and then on your next inhale, let's come back up to that standing position. Let's place the palms of your hands so that they face down to the ground. Let's rotate your left foot on a little bit more of an angle, so a nice 45-degree angle. Take a deep inhale and then exhale. Start to bend your front knee. Now, very important in this pose, because we're focusing on our knees, I'm really going to put a lot of stress on this. Make sure your right knee is above your ankle or behind it. Your ankle is supporting your knee and giving it its strength, helping to keep it free from injury. Now, as you notice, I'm inching this back foot a little bit further out. I didn't feel like I had the full support I needed, so you can inch that back foot further out. It's called heel toe. You can move your heel followed by your toe, and that's going to get you a little bit deeper into this pose. Now, gaze down your right fingertips, and then focus on your left kneecap. Pretend there's a string in the top of your kneecap pulling up into your hip. That's going to help strengthen your knee in this position as well. Continuing to breathe, this is warrior two pose. Nice deep inhale. As you exhale, pretend that string is still in your kneecap. Let's bend your right arm, pivot at the waist, and rest your forearm on the top of your thigh. That string is still in your kneecap. Left arm is reaching straight up to the sky or up and over as we come into reaching side angle. So you can feel this a little bit in your back knee. It's a little bit easier to pull that string up because you don't have a lot of weight on there, so you're engaging your back knee to help strengthen it. You can also feel this on your front knee, on your right knee, because you are putting most of your body weight on to help to support. So your knee has to engage to help support you. Take a deep inhale. Let's come back into warrior two pose, gazing down those right fingertips towards the front of the room. Deep inhale, exhale. Let's straighten your front leg, lower your hands. Rotate both toes so that they face toward me. Keep a nice wide stance. Place the palms of your hands on your hips, shoulders back and down. Engage those kneecaps. Pretend there's two strings pulling them up into your hips. Take a deep inhale, and then as you exhale, leading with your chest, keep your head up, start to bend forward. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward bend. You can come down as low as you feel comfortable. You can stop right here at a 90-degree angle. Just look down toward the ground. If it feels comfortable, you can extend your hands down to help you get a little bit deeper into this pose. If you've got a lot of flexibility, you can bring your head down so that the crown of your head touches the mat. Or you can reach your hands out, 2-finger point, and grasp your big toe. There's a lot of options in this pose. But before you do anything, before you really get fancy, focus on your knees. Really feel that strength in your knees. They have no option but to have that string pulling them up now. Your knees are really supporting you in this pose. For some reason, I have so much more flexibility in this pose from standing than when I do in a seated position. Okay, to come up from this pose, if you are only halfway down,
keep your hands on your hips. If you are down on the ground, take your thumbs and place them just below your hip bones, right in that fold in your hips. Deep inhale, and then exhale. Press those hips back and come into a standing position. That helps to take some of the pressure off of your lower back. Okay, let's give our legs a rest. Let's bring those feet a little bit closer together. Let's walk them out. Roll out your shoulders. And then let's do it all again on the opposite side. So let's come into a nice wide stance. We're going to go into triangle pose first. Left toes rotate so that they face the left-hand side of the room. Right toes facing forward. And then reposition your feet to make sure there's a straight line between the back of your left heel and the inside of your right heel. Bring those arms into a letter T. Deep inhale and then exhale. Left hand drawn to the left-hand side of the room. Right hip toward the right. And then pivot at the waist. Coming into triangle at a position that feels comfortable for you. Remembering to keep those shoulders stacked. Pretend that you're between two panes of glass. And the glass is really, really narrow, so you need to fit in between them. Don't curl that shoulder over. Standing up nice and tall. Right hand reaches up to the sky. And again, remember, here's an option for you as well if this feels more comfortable. Looking up to the sky if it feels good on your neck, or continuing to look forward. Take a deep inhale. Full exhale, really feeling this in your knees. Take a deep inhale. Let's come back up into a standing position. Palms facing down. Let's walk that back foot out a little bit further if you need to. You should have a nice wide stance in this pose. That's going to help support your knee a little bit more. And then let's rotate that back foot on a little bit of an angle to help support your back leg. Deep inhale and then exhale. Let's bend your right leg into a 90-degree angle or greater. Once again, make sure your knee is above your ankle or behind it. Gaze down your left fingertips to the front of the room. Pretend there's a string in your kneecap, pulling that knee up into your hips. The more that you do this pose, the less you need to focus on that string. Your knee will actually automatically start to hike up. As I focus on it, I realize that I don't need to pull that kneecap up anymore. It automatically does it. I can feel my back leg has really engaged in this position. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. Keep that string in your knee. Bend your left arm. Pivot at the waist. Rest your forearm on the top of your thigh. Right arm reaches up or up and over. Looking straight ahead or looking up at the sky, whatever feels most comfortable for your neck. Continuing to breathe, nice deep inhale, nice full exhale. On your next inhalation, let's come back to Warrior Two, gazing down those left fingertips. Deep inhale, exhale. Let's lower your arms, straighten your leg, and let's walk those legs back together. Let's walk them out. Bring some energy back into your legs, into your shoulders. And let's come back to a standing position. Let's come back to standing mountain position. Hands out to your side. Feet just a little bit wider or just about hip width apart. Close your eyes and feel yourself grounded into the mat. Feel your knees. Pay attention and focus on your knees. Just by doing these positions and these movements and these postures, I already feel like my kneecaps are already coming up. They're engaged and they're helping to ground me into the mat. Make sure those kneecaps are engaged. Try to pull them up if you need to. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, slowly open your eyes. And that concludes our class today. Let's bring the palms of our hands together and let's celebrate the wonderful gift of strength and flexibility that we've brought to our bodies today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I hope to see you again soon.